So today's speaker, let's talk about Bill Watkins. So Bill has the kind of history that many of us are shooting for, right? He had a great Army career. He went out into the business world, built great companies, and he sold them. So done and done, he doesn't have to do that anymore. So rather than sit around on his ranch in Wyoming and eat Rocky Mountain oysters, Bill decided to roll up his sleeves and engage with other veterans who want to walk the same path that he walked, right? So he mentors dozens of firms, large and small, from his ranch on Wyoming, most of them led by former military officers, and most of them Service Academy alumni. So Bill has a unique perspective. He already knows many of us individually, but he also knows us intimately as a category. And he's highly practiced both in keeping us out of hot water and also fishing us out when we fall in. So he comes to see us pretty regularly. The last time he occupied the speaker's chair was on April 16th. And if you're counting, that was about 1 month into the COVID crisis. He had some things to say to the small business owners in the audience that sound like great advice still 6 months later. You can hit the YouTube channel and see for yourself. But now it is 6 months later, right? So Q4 started a week ago. We've come to know this ground, but for some of us, the battlefield feels a lot more like the muddy trenches of Verdun than it feels like the open air of Afghanistan, right? So Bill is here to check in with us, share the lessons his cohorts have learned over the past 6 months, and his vision of what to expect and how to operate through the end of 2020 and beyond. So Bill, over to you, sir.
I'm on already. Wow, unprepared. But I'll give you my bio because I get a certain amount of minutes for that. West Point. Yes, West Point. I am your mascot. You can beat me up, especially as we approach the Army-Navy game. We hope Philly approves that so we can actually play football. But yes, I am that guy. You can flog me all you want. I did 8 years active duty as an Army engineer. I did 8 years active reserve. And then I was a headstrong young man who thought he should launch a company rather than stay 4 more freaking years for a lifelong pension. But oh no, I knew what I was doing, which I didn't. But anyway, I got out. And I did launch the Morena Group in my garage, my little teeny cul-de-sac home. I had a mortgage, I had 2 babies, and I had a dream. And I turned that dream into 4 manufacturing companies globally in 90 countries. I sold that business to private equity on December 4th of 2012, and I was funded on December 5th, and the rest is history, so to speak. Why am I here? Because I was too young and too headstrong to go out to the pasture with all that money, and more money than my immigrant parents and grandparents could ever have imagined. So I don't tell you that to impress you, but to impress upon you that what I'm doing right now is a mission. And the mission is to change the world one badass at a time. And that you're on this call qualifies for somebody that I'm intriguingly interested in. So in 2013, I launched Lions Pride, the Lions Pride Accelerator that I'm the founder of, the CEO of. And what we do for our primary focus is military vets / academy grads, founders, CEOs of small business, usually under 25 million, that are working themselves towards an exit. I see small business as a way for massive wealth accumulation. And so I'm interested in people who are not building necessarily a career or lifestyle, but building wealth and impact, I might add, impact in whatever moves you. So when somebody calls me and they talk to me, I say, listen, I can make this really easy. I have a lot of so-called competitors out there. I don't think they're competitors because there's way too many people who need us in this space than there are companies like mine. I say we're the Formula One to driving that professional development is to my competitors' coaching. So if you're ready for Formula One, buckle up, we're ready to go. But what I'm gonna do tonight is I'm gonna talk to you about 2 things. I'm gonna talk to you about what's happened in the last, 7 months, 8 months since the zombies attack that we all experienced, and how we, from what we call our cohort, how we're looking forward into 2021. Whether you're a small business owner, whether you're pre-revenue, early revenue, or growing your business towards an exit, I'm going to give you some real tools. But some of you aren't. Some of you are in a career, some of you are in transition, and some of you are very happy in that career. I'm going to give you something that I think you're going to find value in. And so, and then I'll talk shortly and I'll answer questions longly. I don't intend to be here. So what I want to talk about is what we learned in the last, say, 7 months? What we learned is that companies and people, you, need 3 things right now. We need agility, we need resilience, and we need prediction. Now, prediction kind of went out the window in the last 7 months. So what we relied on was agility and resilience, either as human beings or as small business owners. So when we couldn't predict what was going to happen to our industry, our company, or whatever in the last 7 months, we relied on being able to pivot quickly, which all of you can do. You learn that in your military career. You approach the battlefield, or what is the battlefield called in naval warfare, Jason? Somebody help me out here so I don't sound stupid.
We sometimes we say the battle space.
The battle space. So what we learned when we were in the battle space that was moving quickly is that we needed to assess, we needed to just analyze, we needed to decide, and then we needed to act. And then if we were wrong, we needed to pivot. And so the agility that we developed as humans in our families and our careers became very valuable. And we were facing, some of you are parents right now, some of you are grandparents who have children who are parenting. We've got schools that aren't opening. We have people who are trying to work at home. We have people who are launching businesses, blah, blah, blah. We needed to have a high adversity quotient, which all of you have been trained to respond to, so that we are resilient. And those are the 3 things that our cohort learned and mastered in the last 7 months that we probably were skilled at, that we had to get more skilled at. So I'm professing that if you write this down, prediction, which can be good, but who can predict the elections? Well, we're doing all these polls, but they were wrong in 2016. So can we predict? Can we not predict? I don't know. I'm certainly not smart enough for any prediction, but what I am good at is I am good at pivoting, and I am good as being resilient. And I think as military veteran and academy grads, military officers, we are damn good at the latter 2, even if we're not good at the former. So I'm going to profess to you that. Now, hear me out, please. For you small business owners, lean in heavily on this. For you people in a career currently that are going to stay in a career or maybe in transition, hear me out, please. Stay in attention. There's 10, what I call 10x activators. What is 10x? 10x was a term coined by Larry Page. I don't know. I could ask one of you, hey, what do you drive? You'll say, I don't know, a Toyota 4Runner. What do you get for mileage? 20 miles to the gallon. I'll say, could you get 20? And you'll go, I mean, if I put like $1,000 on it, could you get 22 miles to the gallon? You probably would go, I think so. What if I said 200? You go, no. Or you say, I'll take you up on that bet, right? Because you'd win. You can't get 200. But I wonder if you took $1 million to Stanford or MIT or Caltech or Cal Poly or whoever your favorite engineering university is, the Naval Academy, West Point, and you said, hey guys, we'll give you $1 million if you can take this vehicle to 200 miles at a gallon. I wonder if they could figure it out. I bet they could. That's 10x thinking. I want you to embrace that concept in your life, and if you own a business, in your business. It is a combination of mindset, tools, and people in your universe. I call that accountability. So when you surround yourself, who was it that said you're the average of the 5 people? Was it, I can't remember who that was, but when you surround yourself with great people who think like you do, 10x, they begin to pull you into 10x. When you embrace world-class proven tools that have proved that you could take your Toyota 4Runner to 200 miles per gallon, Now you got some tools in your tool belt. And when you have the mindset that 10x is just as easy as 10%, and I've seen it happen a million times, it happened to me. Now you begin to move towards the mission to Mars as opposed to getting down the street to the grocery store. So what I'm going to tell you are the 10x activators that have been proven by me and hundreds of others. Jason, you've been a member of my program. So, and you still own that seatbelt and that cockpit seat that I gave you when you were accelerating in your career and in your businesses towards where you are today. So you know what I'm talking about. First comes self-awareness. Please write these assessments down. Self-awareness. Why do you need self-awareness? I could ask questions, but that will take too much time. So undoubtedly, you know the answer. Self-awareness allows you to make the decisions on where you should be applying your awesomeness. And too often, high performers like you say yes to freaking everything. And you get mired in the weeds, and you get mired until your stress level is over the top. Assessments allow you to decide what should be on your to-do list, who should be on your calendar, who should you surround yourself with. Kolbe A, Kolbe, alpha. That's number one. Tells you how you act in any situation. You know what I am? I'm what they call a high quick start. I can take risk off the chart. You know what I don't do is gather facts. Yeah, one of you says, hey, we should do this. My intuition kicks in. I go, we should do that. Jason was talking to me earlier today. I said, bro, we're going to do that. I got no facts. My whole team's going to freak out when I tell them what we're doing. Because they're like, what? Where are the details? I don't need details. This is a damn good idea. But then there's others of you who need to investigate, think this through, develop systems and processes. Kolbe A. Strength Finder, Gallup Strength Finder. Take the 34 version, okay? Top 5 strengths, bottom 5 strengths. Do more of this, do significantly less of this. Fascination Advantage, Sally Hogshead, friend of mine. The world needs more of your genius. Figure out what that is. And lastly, please read this book, The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. Figure out what your upper limit problem is, that's your parking brake, release it, and move towards your zone of genius, which is your Formula One engine. Self-awareness. Next, a one-page plan. Now, there's 2 types of plans. Those of you who are in business are thinking, I need a business plan. Yep, you do, on 1 page. That's all. From 25 years out, when you make $100 million or $1 million or 100,000, whatever it is, down to today, you need that plan. But you know what the more important plan is? The one you don't pay attention to? Your 1-page personal plan. Is it written? Or did you have that evening on New Year's Eve where you set some resolutions, you didn't write them down, and you didn't link them to a plan? All of you are badass people who know what GPS coordinates are. Your 1-page plan or your GPS coordinates to a freaking extraordinary life that you deserve and that I want you to have. It's the one you dream of. Next, once you have that, we need to move towards what we call ruthless and radical productivity. You say yes to a lot. You say yes to too much. Why do you do that? You're a kindergarten teacher. Be nice. Say yes. Help people. Say yes to Jason. Show up for this meeting. Listen to Bill Watkins for the next X amount of minutes, which I'll make really short, okay? But what I want you to do is view productivity as the Archimedes lever to absolutely everything that you do. For most of you who are small business owners, you don't have a virtual assistant, shame on you. Somebody who's handling your calendar, your travel, your email inbox, and a lot of other stuff that you're doing with a weed whacker. You're out there really busy, not doing your zone of genius. Stop that. And lastly, especially if you are in a career where you lead people or where you're a small business owner hiring people, you better know who A players are and you better know how to recruit them. That's a book called Top Grading by Brad Smart. I met Brad in 2006. I've been using his system for the last 14 years. It's a structured, and hear me out, behavioral way to hire A players. What's an A player? The top 10% in talent virtual or geographical, who will take your job and perform it and hit home runs. That's what you want. Now, when you get those basics done, now what you have to move to is how do you build your business? Now, if you're the key leader in a business that you don't own, or you're a business owner, you need two things. Badass brand playbook, I call it. It's the dog whistle to your perfect customer. Some of you out there will sell to anybody with a credit card who's breathing. No bueno. You're going to waste time, waste money, be frustrated. You need to have your absolute perfect customer. This guy right over here, up here in the corner, who I'm looking at, who I've known for a long time, this guy's badass at finding his perfect customer. You're it. And he knows how to find you, and he knows how to say the things that get you to show up on a busy day, in your evening perhaps, and here you are sitting listening to somebody like me.
Must be me.
Because he knows how to blow that dog whistle. And he's intriguing you enough to stay put until we get to the next part of the program. And then once you move them from your badass brand playbook dog whistle, they become a lead who's like kinkling on your bait. You now move them through what's called the customer activation cycle, a structured way to move people through stages from who is Jason to, oh my gosh, I need to tell 100 of my friends who Jason is. See? And so you move them along these stages of warmth and hotness, or heat, I guess is a better word, until they become raving fans. This then leads you to the opportunity, because now you're making money, to build an A-player culture. I told you about hiring A players, okay? A players won't stay long if you're not playing at the Super Bowl level. They're going to leave you for a competitor, or they're going to leave you for a better opportunity. You need to make sure that they are empowered, that they are, meaning you train them, you develop them, they have a career roadmap, that you engage them. The Q12, by the way, from Gallup Q12 is your singular tool for employee engagement. You must be measuring this at least once a year. And you need to be doing what's called the Employee Net Promoter Score, either weekly, at worst case monthly, and reporting it to your team, capturing the feedback, okay? And then you need to be working like crazy to retain people. This is the magic. A-player culture wins. You've heard that, you've read that. Are you doing that? And then we move towards two last things, and then I'll wrap up. One is, I have a lot of members in my program who join, who've had a business for a while, who are launching business, who don't have a freaking clue about their finances. And that's like owning or general managing a pro football team and not knowing where to find the scoreboard. That is terrible. Now, guess what? When we were at the academies and we were in serving in the military, we didn't learn crap about business finances. And you don't need to go get an MBA to learn about business finances. You just need, business finance for dummies, or, some basic course that you can get even for free. P&L, balance sheet, cash flow statement. If you're on an accrual basis, if you're on all cash business, then all you need is the P&L. So in your personal life, do you need a balance sheet and a P&L? You bet you do. Do you need to run a budget? I think budgets are boring. Just don't spend more than you earn for a while. You can do it for a little while, but not too long. But yeah, be looking at how you're doing. Share that with your spouse. Make a plan for your financial future, which I'm going to talk about in the last point, and then I'm going to shut up, okay? But business finance, whether you shouldn't be doing it yourself unless you're like a startup and you have no money, and like I was in my garage. I had a great organization. I had 10 extensions on my phone. I answered all 10 because there was only one person there who was working in the business, and we were losing money like crazy. So I get it. But ultimately, you need to have a bookkeeper or a controller or fractional or whatever. So you're getting the reports and you understand the reports. You can look up at the scoreboard, or you look into player stats and you know how the game is going. The scoreboard, your financial statements, is how your business is going, period. There is no compromise there. Okay. And I don't know what the analogy is in naval warfare, but there are some statistics. If you're a surface warfare officer that you look at that, you know you're winning or the enemy's winning. And I don't know what that is. Anyway, the last one is this. If you're building, hear me out, a small business that you intend to sell to your children, your employees, to gift to your children, to gift to your employees, to sell to a strategic partner, private equity. I sold mine to private equity. You need to have an exit plan. And when's the best day for an exit plan? The day after you incorporate. When's the second best day? Tomorrow. Or after this meetup is done. Your exit plan is your number. How much money do you want to have from your business? Honey, if that's what you call your significant other, how much money would we like to have someday? What are we going to do with it? Beach house, RV, yacht, airplane. How much will that cost? So we come up with our number. We then come up with our timeline. We then come up with our target. Who are we going to sell it to? That'll give us that amount of money. And then we come up with our terms. All cash. I got an all cash deal because I didn't want an earnout. I didn't want an employment agreement. I'm a terrible employee. They would have fired me and figured out how to steal all my money. So I needed all cash. Took a big haircut to get it, but it was totally worth it. So that's it. The 10X activators, whether it's activators in your life or activators in your business. I've seen this happen thousands of times. Jason bears the scars of me imposing this regimen on him so he can, he can cry here in a few minutes because he graduated from our program. And I'm here to answer questions if there are any. You have my apology for, here's my, for those of you who wonder, Scott Mackey's, you know Scott Mackey's? Yeah, he's a Naval Academy grad. He's a strength finder coach. He said, Bill, you only have one strength. It's to boss people around. It's command. And that's what I've done for the last X amount of minutes. I'm going to shut up, go to the background, answer questions if there are any, and give Jason great gratitude for standing on the podium for a few minutes.
Thanks. Thanks, Bill. I really appreciate it. One of the really the only regret that I have, I live on Bali. For those of you who don't know, I live in Indonesia. And my main regret is that Bill's cohorts meet at about 3 o'clock in the morning, my time.
Yeah.
So, which
we
makes
haven't
it
been able
impossible.
to figure that out, have we?
No, you can't bring you any closer, but man, I miss those things.
Jason, let me just,
go ahead.
Let me take back the mic just for 1 minute.
Yeah.
Okay? I've known you, Jason, for maybe 2 years, maybe 3. I can't remember.
Pushing 3, yeah.
One of the beautiful things that all of you are experiencing right now is the beautiful power or the wonderful zone of genius Jason has to aggregate like-minded people in like-minded places who want to hang out with like-minded people in like-minded places. Jason, the reason I show up here, even though I get flogged as the only West Point graduate that you'll allow in this room, okay, is that I really appreciate getting to know all of you. And it's because of Jason, the power of the connection with all of you that really puts a smile on my face. I'm eager to show up, even if I'm not speaking from the podium. And so, Jason, I just want to thank you for that. And I want to emphasize it in front of all of you that this is why we're here, not to listen to Bill Watkins, but to hang out with everybody here and to have ongoing conversations after the meetup. So thank you so much for your talent.
I appreciate that. And it's true, right? I mean, we all, no matter what else we can say about ourselves or each other, that this is, one thing we all have in common, right? We've all put our bodies in harm's way in service of our country. And that's a connection. You can't fake it, right? It's like being in shape, right? You can't fake it. So that's the basis for a pretty good relationship from there. Yeah, Bill, you mentioned a bunch of books in your talk, and I'm going to put links to all those, in my follow-up emails. Yep. But I want to talk about one that you didn't mention. Right there at the end, when you were talking about sort of, the best time to have an exit plan and the rest of it, you reminded me of probably my favorite business book, which is Built to Sell. right?
John Orla.
And this right? This idea that if you want to create a great business,
Right.
think about your business as a thing that you intend to sell, because that angle, that mental model will wind up producing a more efficient business that requires less of you, because you won't be the linchpin, because after all, your business is a lot more valuable if it works when you're not there. Can you talk a bit about that?
Absolutely. John at the time did not know it, but I had bought his book. I bought lots of books, but I couldn't afford to talk to people like John. So I kept working towards my exit, but I was using John's methodology on the way. John has 10 sell activators. And John is to business sales, small business sales, what Jim Collins is to big companies, good to great research. So John studies, I don't know, somewhere around 15 and 17,000 sales per year of small businesses. And then he highlights the levers that you need to work on right now, even if you're selling your business in 7 to 20 years, whatever. And he will weight those for you in what buyers are looking for. And it does change. There's some commonalities in it, but it does change over time. And so I'll give you one example. The most powerful activator to your valuation, if you own a business and you're thinking of selling it, is that you can step away from that business for 3 days. Just kidding, 90 days. Some of you are freaking out because you can't imagine being away from your business for 90 minutes.
The duration of this call.
There you go. You're holding your breath, hoping your company doesn't fall apart. 90 days. I'll give you a great example. Brian and Shannon own a company called Belay. It was a small company. They started in their little teeny closet in their little teeny cul-de-sac home when their kids were like in diapers. Now they are moving towards a significant, probably 9-figure, maybe 10-figure valuation from a strategic partner, because they've been on sabbatical now going on a year. Now, of course, they're in their business, I think, 18 years or maybe 15 years, okay? So they're mature, but they took off for 90, they extended it to 6, they moved to 9, and now they're up to 12. It's possible, but what you have to do is move on John's levers proactively. Now, I'll give you one more book, Jason. Along that line, it's Randy Long's book called Braveheart Exit. Randy's an awesome man, great character. And when you complement Randy with John, you'll see commonalities from two proven exit experts who are building wealth for their clients. And I think some of us on that call want to do that.
Yeah, that's great. That book was a game changer for me, because I'm the guy, I always want to do everything. I'm intrinsically uncomfortable with asking somebody else to do something I think I can do better myself.
Absolutely.
Right. And I needed, especially when I was younger and exhaustion didn't really factor in, I needed a better argument. Like, why should I do this? And it turned out that the argument was that you create something more valuable when you've got a system instead of just yourself doing things, which to most of you, I'm sure, is intuitive, but to me, for some reason, it wasn't. Let's talk about strength finders. I love that. So when I first got involved with Bill's cohorts, there's a cycle that they all go through, and I just happened to come in at the time when everybody was doing these self-assessments. So I wound up taking the Colbier and the Strength Finders. I think there was another one. It's interesting because it's easy to say know yourself. It's very hand wavy, sort of a yoga thing. Right. But what I did, and Bill, I think this might've been at your suggestion. My girlfriend and I were sort of working up a venture together. And so I made her take them too. Yep. And that was an eye opener, right? Because suddenly we could see in black and white the points where we'd had difficulty communicating. There it is. Oh wow, I'm really good at that, and actually that's at the bottom of your list, right? So that perspective was just, it was useful, right? I mean, it shortcutted a lot of arguments, but it also made me a lot more mindful of who should be doing what. You know, how do we split up responsibilities? And it makes sense to hand people responsibilities that accord with their strengths, right? So for the what was it, $50 or $60 it cost to take the assessment? I mean, lasting value.
$500,000 return. I'll give you a funny example. There in a company, Mark Winters pioneered this research. He categorized us as visionaries or integrators. Visionaries are the Macy's Day Balloon. Integrators are the people walking on the road with the rope tethering you so you don't fly off into the galaxy. Integrators get the shit done that visionaries are always dreaming. Well, anyway, I had an early morning meeting with a fellow visionary. There's a club. It's the Visionary Club. And we just had the funnest time talking about galactic level missions to Mars and all that. Right after that, I had a meeting with my COO and my CFO. And they see my calendar. I share my calendar. And they said, so how was it with Jeff? Which planet did you guys land on? And no, none of your ideas are approved. They need to go through the filtering process. All right. I said that in jest. No, I mean, it's the truth. We did have that real life conversation, but I said it a little bit tongue in cheek. But here's what I want to tell you. In the early days, before Samantha, Jen, and I, and the rest of my team, who are a lot of integrators, who get a lot of shit done, I'm the idea guy. I don't need too many idea guys. How many Macy Day balloons do you need, all right, to fly to Mars? So I would go out hike. I live in Wyoming. I hike in the backcountry all the time, all 4 seasons. And usually that's my place for my mind and my soul to roam. I'll come back from a backpack trip or a hike and I'll have 1,000 ideas that I think could get done by Monday afternoon by 4 o'clock. I'll present them.
Do you write those down while you're hiking?
No, I record them in my phone. Either that or I just
right.
keep them in my brain. All right.
Yeah.
It's an amazing brain that I have here. Just kidding. So anyway, I usually record them on my phone and then I upload them to Slack and then my team has them. They show up to our Monday call with deer in the headlights. They're like, what the hell just happened to me?
Bill took a walk.
We've learned to dance foxtrot together. All right. They understand that I'm the wild man who has wild ideas, some of which will come true. And I understand that I can't get shit done unless I have them. They will feel overwhelmed by my ideas, and I will feel like they're moving too freaking slow. That could become dysfunctional if we don't speak the same language. And what Jason said is that's the Colby A, and that's the Gallup Strength Finder. When you have mutual self-awareness and you have then team awareness, now all of a sudden it's okay. Sam can jest with me and say, how was the meeting with Jeff? Were you guys on Mars or did you go all the way to Mercury? And we laugh, ha, 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 but I did have some great ideas. She said, stop, those are not approved. We already have our Q4 objectives. We'll consider those. No, but they're great. Stop, we're not gonna talk about them, Bill. And I respect her. So what I'm saying is in your life, could be a spouse, could be a significant other like Jason has. It could be a business partner. It could be your employees. See, when you invest in this sort of effort, it really brings massive ROI to your acceleration because all of a sudden the things that were annoying you are things that now make sense.
Bill, you just reminded me of the first time I saw your face. I was on a call with Scott Mackey's. No. I was on one of Scott Mackey's calls. You mentioned Scott earlier, right? And this guy shows up who's clearly taken a walk in the woods. You must have joined him from one of your walks.
I got lost.
Yeah, because it was, and I thought you were walking in a park. I didn't realize you were in the backcountry of, the nether regions of Wyoming.
Yeah, this morning I saw a black bear. I was out.
Yeah, did he see you?
Well, people are and should be scared of bears, of which I am. But most bears are like, "What the hell is that? Why is it doing here? I'm going to run away," and that's okay. So bear was up there. I was trying to find a trail. I was lost, and bear looked at me. I looked at bear. I grabbed bear spray. Bear said, "This is stupid. I'm leaving." Lumber away, off to their life.
Oh, that's great. All right. Well, here. All right. Since we're on books, I spent a good part of this year sitting in Nassim Taleb's virtual study, reading "Fooled by Randomness" and "Black Swan" and "Anti-Fragility," and right. I read them all. I literally binge read Taleb, which is probably not really good for your attitude, but it was great for thinking. And I've talked about anti-fragility a lot on these sessions, and I love this idea that that it is possible to set yourself up so that when disaster hits, you get better, right? Yeah. And right when you first started talking with us this morning, you talked about this notion, this distinction between trying to predict the future and positioning yourself to pivot when the future happens, right? Which sounds, you're in the same ballpark as Taleb there. And I wonder, is this an idea that Taleb helped you generate? Are you thinking anti-fragility when you talk about that kind of stuff? What's going on there?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we've not met, but I value a lot of authors who've put out great thoughts. And here's what I want to say. On March 7th, when zombies were at the door, I met with my team and I had no idea. I'm not smart, okay? I graduated from West Point, and all of you are laughing right now because you say, well, shit, that's the 4th best academy on the planet.
We got a VMI guy in the house.
There you go. But what I wanted to say is I met with my team and I said, listen, I don't know what the hell's happening here, but by God, your job is secure. We are going to accelerate like freaking crazy, and I have no idea how we're going to do that. And then we met with our members, all right, in the month of March, and we said the same thing. Not one member, and we are talking about small business here, lost their company. Sure, we all lost a little revenue for a little while, but then what we did was we pivoted. We weren't going to give up. And we were going to find the way forward. And I said, the way forward is, number 1, lock in your team. Number 2, lock in your customers, deliver incredible value, going forward. And number 3, go find people that you can help. And I said, if you have that attitude and you have those systems and processes, we are going to thrive, not just survive. We're going to thrive in whatever's coming our way. And we had no idea what that was.
I go back to your clips from it was April 16th, I think, your talk back then, and it's astonishing how well that stuff holds up now. And it's many of the things that you just said were things that you talked about on the 16th. You told a story then about a restaurant in Wyoming and about how that was your case study.
Persephone Bakery, Ali Cohen, absolutely.
And how they'd sort of, that was your case study, and how to pivot around this thing, and how are they doing?
Ali has been a member for a number of years. I don't know shit about restaurants. What I do is very generic, and she's a wonderful, very kind and generous person. If you met her, you would have no idea what a badass she is. But restaurants really got hit hard, especially in
Two-thirds. Two-thirds are going out of business.
Yeah. So I'm with Allie, and she's like shell-shocked. She has no freaking idea. So we moved through a little plan. I don't hear from her much. She says, Bill, I got to just work. I can't talk to you. Okay, Allie. We connect up in end of April. Her revenue is down like only 20%, even though her restaurants are closed, and her profit is up.
She's delivering.
She made more money in April of 2020 than she did in April 2019.
Nice.
And she put in a curbside takeout. She put in home delivery, and she put in these customized online bakery and restaurant products, and she spun that up all in less than 30 days. You know what? That I wanted to drop that into my Harvard MBA case study playbook, because that was amazing to see. Regular old human being, very special, of course. But all I'm saying is that when we don't accept defeat, when we have this mindset, as all of you do, because you're military officers, you academy grads, I'm assuming, and you just say, you know what, this ain't taking me down. I'm going to figure this out. And then you systematically do your thing that you learned in school and in the military, then boom, we're here to take care of the world. I mean, if we need to take care of the world, the people on this call, that's our purpose. And so I saw that happen, Jason, not only in Allie's case, but in a lot of others.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.